Yes, this is the second time I'm using Pac Mania in the intro, but you know what? It's a fun little picture book. Go ahead and give it a try. Hey kids, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, the man with hair greasy enough to deep fry chicken, and I hope that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I want to do a little follow-up to a discussion I had a few months ago now when I discussed the Trust Thermocline and its relationship with trading card games and hobbies in general. And a little refresher for those of you who either haven't seen that video in a while or just flat out have not watched it. The Trust Thermocline is the concept that when it comes to companies and IPs and games, your relationship with your customers is, it can kind of be seen on almost a scale where if a company makes some bad decisions gradually over time, player interest and consumer interest can trend downward slowly, and then suddenly, after what seems like a straw that broke the camel's back moment, just dip down into complete catastrophe, leaving you a situation where your company cannot regain the numbers of consumers that it once had, and it just slowly loses relevancy, leading to a failed product, failed IP, a failed company even. Now, that video was just to give a general overview, overstatement, oversight, whatever. It was just introduce the concept to you guys. And since that video has come out, I've been involved in a few conversations with people, both in the comment section on that video and others, and especially on Discord, where people have asked me, especially in particular relation to Magic the Gathering, is Wizards of the Coast going to experience this? When is Wizards of the Coast going to experience this? Is Magic going to fail soon? Is Magic going to fail this year? Is Magic going to fail this week? Is Magic currently failing? Do I need to sell all my Magic the Gathering cards? And I just want to say, in relation to Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, Chris Cox, Mark Rosewater, Aaron Forsyth, Gavin Verhey, and all the other people who work with what is, in my opinion, one of the best card games ever made, I think the worst is behind us. And I believe that Magic, at the very least, unless some crazy nonsense happens in the next few years that I just could not possibly predict, and in all fairness, I couldn't have predicted Universes Beyond, so with the exception of some absolutely out of left field nonsense that would just not make sense, I do believe the worst of the Magic misgivings are behind us. And what do I mean by that? Well, since 2019-ish, it started in 2016, but the worst of it was in 2019 forward. Topic for another video. Magic has had a cavalcade of catastrophic releases. I tried doing a little rhyming thing there and it didn't work. A lot of things have gone wrong since 2019. Some things that seemed innocuous at first, like the introduction of the collector boosters and all the extra, what do they call it? Showcase cards. There's major things like the introduction of Universes Beyond, Secret Layers. There's the Magic 30 situation where they reprinted all of Beta at a hilariously inflated price. There's the hilarious choice to give us a booster box called the Aftermath boosters, which were almost an insult to the mathematic capabilities of your player base when it came to pricing. There were things like the 7 Deadly Sin bans. There were things like introducing collector boosters and set boosters and suddenly taking set and draft boosters and mashing them into one, which had less cards than draft boosters and cost about as much as set boosters. That's fun. Isn't that great? There's been a lot of grumblings in the Magic community, and with good reason. There's plenty to be upset about when it comes to Magic the Gathering. I'm going to get my bias out of the way. I'm going to put my bias out there, guys. I am not the biggest fan of Wizards of the Coast. I know that's a shock to you guys. I know that some of you are positively taken aback by that revelation. But for those of you who have been paying attention, not just to this channel, but to my other channel, Lore Seeker, or just having a conversation with me online, I do not believe that Wizards of the Coast is the best stewards for Magic the Gathering right now. And I like to chalk it up to ineptitude because I don't want to assume malice on their part. I really don't want to assume that they are evil schemers or all that, nonsense. I just think they're kind of out of touch. That's it. Not terribly out of touch. I don't think they're incapable of doing good things with the game, because they have. I'm really fond of... Let me grab them. Oh, it's over here somewhere. There was a brief stint of time back in the day. Back in the day being like, when did this come out? 2020? So yeah, like 5 years ago. This is what I consider a really good example of a good Magic product. This is a Zendikar Rising? Yes. This is a commander deck for Zendikar Rising. What I really like about this little bad boy was that it cost $20. MSRP of $20 out the gate. Keep in mind, at the time, most commander products had a price tag of around $40. So when this little guy came out and hit the ground running at $20, I thought that was amazing because it gave us a very nice, affordable entry product for people looking to get into the most popular format of the game, Commander. So do I think Wizards is capable of making good decisions? Yes. Do I think they are then capable of rolling back the decisions, because these did not last all that long? In fact, less than a year later, we got back to full price Commander decks at 40, 50, 60 and above. Yeah. But what does that have to do with the overall topic of this video being, do I think Magic is going to fail anytime soon? No. I don't think Magic is going to fail anytime soon, because I genuinely believe that the worst decisions Wizards could make in relation to the game are done. I don't think some of the things they could do, which would drive away huge chunks of the player base, I think those are done with. There were objections, real serious objections, to Secret Lair, to Universes Beyond, and to Magic 30. Those three in particular. Don't like how my hand shows up in the camera. It makes me look fat. I am fat, but that's not the point. Those three things in particular really aggravated a lot of people. And some people who were chased away from the game by those decisions never come back. They never returned to Magic after Magic 30 in particular chased away some pretty heavy spenders that I know. So there's that. But, that aside, I think it's going to be difficult for Wizards to make decisions that would be worse on paper than Magic 30. And I couldn't even hazard a guess as to what that kind of decision would be. Like, I don't know. If every Magic card released going forward had an art treatment like some of the worst Secret Lair designs, I suppose that would chase away some people. Probably would chase away me. I don't want to look at any of those hideous cards, because there have been some really bad cards in some of those Secret Lairs. Yeah, I'm not even going to hazard a guess as to what it would take to be worse in terms of design choices and product choices than Magic 30. But it's not just that. It's the fact that a lot of people have just kind of gotten used to the current state of Magic. And some people only know Magic from its current state. A lot of people who are playing the game right now don't know what Magic was like 6 years ago. So they're not going to be all that perturbed by Wizards releasing a new Universes Beyond set. There was a bit of an uproar with Lord of the Rings and how that was handled, how that entire situation unfolded. And I don't think we're going to get that same negative reaction with things like Final Fantasy or Marvel or the inevitable Pokemon Secret Lair, although that would probably be a nightmare to deal with. What I'm trying to say in this video, and I'm trying to do this all in one take, and I'm terrified of having to edit this. I'm probably going to have to. What I'm trying to say is that I think Magic is going to stick around for a while. Because I can't foresee them, Wizard, the company, I can't foresee them doing a whole lot more damage to the game than they've already done in terms of player perception. They've released some banger sets in the last year or so, and they are going to be releasing some sets that I genuinely believe are going to be absolute home runs. Look, last year we got Bloomborough and Foundations. I was apprehensive about Foundations, and I was absolutely critical of the Bloomborough thing. But both turned out fine. Sure, there was other sets that year that did not do that great. Looking at you, Duskmorn. Looking at you, Aether Drift. But, they are capable of releasing good sets that draw people in. They are capable of releasing some genuinely hyped sets as well. And they are capable of getting a lot of interest and names on their game. And, yeah, there's a lot of greed behind it. There's going to be greed behind the curtain. And I'm sure that sooner or later, Wizards of the Coast, Chris Cox in particular, is going to announce some crazy new price tag for something that's going to make me go, come on, guys, no one's paying that. And then someone's going to pay it. And I'm going to lose my mind. But look forward. Look for the future, because in the next few months we have, June has Final Fantasy, and that's, according to Chris Cox, who we all know to be a upstanding individual who would never lie, ever, ever, ever. According to him, Final Fantasy is already the best-selling Magic set of all time. And it's not even out yet. It's just on pre-orders. I'm inclined to believe him, too. Just because Final Fantasy is a gargantuan IP. One of the larger ones in the geek ecosphere. Someone have a nice, catchy word for what I'm trying to say here. Final Fantasy is a pretty big franchise, with a lot of fans willing to spend a lot of money. So I believe Chris Cox when he says it's the best-selling set of all time, again. I've had a lot of best-selling sets of all time in the last few years. And I think that overall, Magic is going to coast on just fine. And that's really all this video is going to be. So with the intention of avoiding repeating myself the next, 20 minutes, I'm just going to say I don't think Magic is going to fall apart anytime soon. Anywho, that's all I've got for you kids today. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. I forgot to ask you to subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. The algorithm is holding my family hostage, and if I don't increase the number of people watching my videos, I have no idea what it's going to do to them.